It's just bad code, so she hacked their magic to save their world. Debugging this reality came with a 500-year warranty. In the heart of a world woven from forgotten code and ancient spells, a weary programmer awakens to unravel the threads of her creation, only to discover that reality itself is but a glitch waiting to be fixed. Lena Voss blinked against the blinding shimmer, her head throbbing as if she just debugged 1,000 lines of faulty code after an all-nighter in her cramped Seattle apartment. She was tall and slender, with short blue-dyed hair tousled from whatever had knocked her out, her nearsighted eyes squinting behind smudged glasses that perched precariously on her nose. A freelance coder for tech startups, Lena was no stranger to exhaustion, the endless grind of deadlines, and the cutthroat competition that left her feeling like an obsolete algorithm in a world of AI overlords. But this was no hangover from cheap coffee and screen glare. She pushed herself up from the cold, crystalline floor, her old hoodie and jeans feeling absurdly out of place against the ethereal glow surrounding her. The labyrinth stretched endlessly in all directions, a vast structure of glittering crystal walls that pulsed with an inner light, like veins of living quartz threading through the air. Towering arches curved overhead, some 50 feet high, etched with symbols that swirled and shifted like lines of code, executing in real time. Glowing runes that danced in hues of sapphire and emerald, forming patterns that whispered of algorithms older than time itself. This was the Crystal Labyrinth, the core enchantment maze of Zorath, a planet locked in a 500-year cycle of magical renewal, where spells maintained the fabric of reality. It wasn't just a place, it was the beating heart of the world, a nexus where ancient incantations intertwined with the essence of existence, hidden deep beneath the surface and accessible only through rifts in the veil between realms. Lena had stumbled here accidentally, after tinkering with an archaic device unearthed in her lab, a relic mistaken for obsolete tech, but one that bridged worlds when she ran a simple activation script. Now, trapped 500 miles from any familiar skyline, she needed to escape, to find a way back to her rainy city and its predictable chaos. She tapped her fingers rhythmically on her thigh, a habit born from hours of coding marathons, as she scanned the walls. The symbols weren't random. They flowed like a program, looping in patterns that screamed inefficiency. "Okay, this looks like an infinite loop," she muttered dryly, her voice echoing off the crystals with a sarcastic edge. Who wrote this crappy code? Probably some ancient wizard with a deadline. Drawing on her programming skills, she approached a sealed archway, its entrance barred by a swirling barrier of light. Logic dictated it was a puzzle, a conditional statement waiting for the right input. She traced her fingers along the runes, feeling a strange hum resonate through her skin, as if the magic recognized her touch. With a mental map of binary trees and error handling, she rearranged a cluster of symbols, hacking the barrier by inverting a key glyph. The wall shimmered and parted, revealing a narrow corridor lined with more pulsating crystals. Deeper in, the air grew thicker, charged with an electric tang that made her hair stand on end. Lena's heart raced as she navigated turns that seemed to shift when she wasn't looking, the labyrinth's architecture defying Euclidean geometry. Walls that bent at impossible angles, floors that sloped subtly to disorient. After what felt like hours, though her watch claimed only 30 minutes had passed, she reached the center, a colossal chamber, 100 feet across, dominated by a hovering crystal orb the size of a small car. This was the core enchantment, the spell that sustained Zorath's rebirth every 5 centuries, a magical engine pulsing with raw power. Curiosity overriding caution, Lena reached out, her fingers brushing the orb's surface. A surge of energy exploded outward, the ground trembling violently as cracks spiderwebbed through the crystals. Lights flared brighter, the runes accelerating into a frenzy, and a low rumble echoed like a system rebooting after a crash. From the shadows, figures emerged, ethereal beings clad in flowing robes that shimmered like liquid silver, their eyes wide with awe. These were the inhabitants of Zorath, a society built on magic where spells governed everything from daily life to governance. Their capital city of crystal spires, lying just beyond the labyrinth's exit, 2 miles upward through enchanted tunnels. They bowed low, murmuring in a tongue that somehow translated in Lena's mind. "The Creator has returned," one cried, his voice reverent. "She has awakened the renewal." Among them stepped forward Ilara, a figure of ambiguous form, her body a translucent haze, silver hair cascading like moonlight, eyes glowing like fractured amethysts. She moved with an effortless glide, as if unbound by gravity, her white silver cloak embroidered with ever-shifting symbols that seemed to debate philosophical quandaries. A philosopher mage from a lowly lineage in Zorath's academies, Ilara was skeptical by nature, driven by a passion for truth over power, often sighing at the illogic of others. "You are the one foretold," Ilara said, her voice laced with haughty curiosity, tilting her head as if appraising a flawed theorem. "The harbinger who mends the code of our world." Lena stepped back, her sharp eyes narrowing. "Look, I'm just a coder from Seattle. I accidentally zapped myself here with some old gadget. How do I get back? This has to be a VR sim or something. Hyper-realistic, sure, but still code." Ilara's eyes flickered, a sigh escaping her lips. "This is no illusion, Lena Voss. Zorath is the true realm, a tapestry of will and enchantment, not your fleeting digital dreams. The labyrinth is our ancient center, forged eons ago to guard the core spell that rebirths our planet every 500 years. You have ignited it prematurely, but in doing so, you've proven yourself the creator, the one who can weave logic into magic." Lena drummed her fingers again, the rhythm steadying her racing thoughts. Cooperation seemed the only path forward. Fighting this delusion, or reality, alone would get her nowhere. "Fine, let's say I buy this for now. Tell me more about this labyrinth. What's its history? Why me?" Ilara's form shimmered as she gestured to the walls. "It was built by the first mages, a safeguard against entropy, spanning 10 miles in diameter beneath our crystal city. Its runes are the language of creation itself, living code that sustains us. You, outsider, resonate with it. Your programming aligns with our spells. Perhaps fate or something deeper." Testing the waters, Lena spotted a flickering rune nearby, a glitch in the pattern, like a bug causing minor distortions in the light. She approached, her USB drive, her talisman of old code snippets, dangling from her neck like a pendant. With a wry smile, she mentally patched it, rearranging symbols as if editing a script. The rune stabilized, a warm pulse acknowledging her fix, forging an inexplicable bond between her mind and the magic. "There," she said, half to herself. "One less error. If this is real, maybe I can hack my way out." The crowd murmured in wonder, but Ilara watched with growing intrigue. Philosophically intriguing. Magic is the universe's will, yet you treat it as editable. Proceed with care, creator. The renewal you've sparked draws eyes, some benevolent, others not. Lena Voss clutched the USB drive hanging from her neck, its familiar weight grounding her as the crystal labyrinth's glow faded behind her. The air thrummed with a strange energy, as if Zorath itself whispered warnings of dangers, yet unseen. She followed Ilara through a winding tunnel, the philosopher mage gliding ahead, her silver hair catching the light of bioluminescent crystals embedded in the walls. The tunnel stretched 2 miles upward, its smooth quartz surfaces pulsing with runes that flickered like a heartbeat, guiding them toward the fabled crystal city. Lena's sneakers squeaked on the polished floor, a jarring contrast to her new crystalline cloak, which shimmered with every step, bestowed upon her by the awestruck Zorathians. Her sharp, wary eyes darted across the shifting symbols, her programmer's mind already dissecting their patterns. "This whole place feels like a server room with a fantasy skin," she muttered, tapping her fingers rhythmically. "If I'm stuck here, I need a team to debug this mess." Ilara paused, her glowing eyes narrowing with a mix of skepticism and intrigue. "You speak of our magic as mere code, yet it responds to you. Why should I, a scholar of Zorath's truths, join a stranger who stumbles into our world?" Her voice carried the weight of a lecture hall, tinged with a haughty curiosity that made Lena smirk. "Because I can do this," Lena replied dryly, stepping toward a flickering rune on the tunnel wall. It pulsed erratically, like a bugged function stalling a program. She traced its edges, visualizing it as a corrupted script, and rearranged the glowing symbols with a flick of her fingers, her mind translating code into magic. The runes stabilized, casting a steady sapphire glow. See? Your magic's just a language I can hack. Help me, and we'll figure out what this creator nonsense is about. Elara sighed, a sound like wind through chimes, but nodded, her philosophical hunger outweighing her doubts. She agreed to serve as Lena's guide, driven by a need to uncover the truth behind this outsider's uncanny power. The tunnel opened into the Crystal City, a breathtaking expanse of towering spires that stretched a mile high, their translucent surfaces refracting light into rainbows that danced across streets paved with glowing stone. Two artificial suns, each 100 feet wide, hung suspended in the violet sky, casting an ethereal warmth over the bustling metropolis. Zorathians moved through markets, their robes shimmering with embedded spells, while floating orbs hummed softly, maintaining the city's magical infrastructure. The air buzzed with a low chant, a cultural rhythm of incantations that powered daily life, from levitating carts to illuminating homes. Lena's jaw tightened. This was no game engine. It was a living, breathing system, and she was a glitch in its code. A sudden scream cut through the hum. Lena sprinted toward it, Elara gliding behind, and found a tall, gangly figure pinned beneath a writhing mass of dark energy, a remnant of an ancient war curse, pulsing like corrupted data. The man Corin had pale green skin and wide, anxious eyes, his disheveled hair falling over a tattered robe patched with mismatched fabrics. A disgraced sorcerer from a clan shunned for refusing to wield magic in war. Corin's hands trembled as he clutched a scroll, muttering apologies. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to trigger it, he stammered, his voice warm but laced with self-doubt. Lena knelt beside him, her fingers tapping as she analyzed the curse's patterns. This thing's like malware. Hold still. Drawing on her coding instincts, she visualized the curse as a rogue process and rewrote its structure, dissipating it with a touch. Corin blinked, stunned, as the dark energy vanished. "You're a sorcerer?" he asked, hope flickering in his eyes. "Nope, just a coder," Lena said with a wry grin. "You're good with magic, right? I need people who can keep up." She asked about his clan, learning of their fall from grace and his latent talent for magical engineering. Encouraged by her blunt confidence, Corin hesitantly agreed to join, his dream of opening a small shop overshadowed by a chance to redeem his skills. Their trio became a quartet in the city's ancient library, a cavernous hall spanning 500 feet, its shelves lined with glowing tomes that hummed with stored spells. There, a hovering crystal orb, 30 centimeters wide, approached with a flourish of violet light. Nexus 9, a magical artifact designed to chronicle Zorath's history, pulsed with a single luminous eye and spoke in a booming, theatrical voice. "Behold, the Creator walks among us, her deeds destined for eternal verse," it proclaimed, projecting runes that sparkled like a light show. Lena rolled her eyes. "Tone it down, Shakespeare. Can you help me debug this world, or just narrate my obituary?" Nexus 9 whirred, undeterred, and pledged to record her journey, its penchant for exaggeration oddly endearing. Lena pocketed her USB, its worn plastic, a talisman of her old life, and tested it on a nearby spectral entity, a floating wisp that flickered like a glitched sprite. Rewriting its magical code, she stabilized it, earning a dramatic gasp from Nexus 9. "A marvel! The Creator bends reality itself." The group huddled in the library's shadow, discussing a chilling rumor. Magical assassinations targeting those tied to the core enchantment, likely orchestrated by an unseen enemy. Lena's mind raced, her fingers drumming. "If someone's gunning for me, we need a plan. Corin, what's the deal with your clan's disgrace? Any enemies we should know about?" Corin blushed, explaining his family's pacifist stance had earned them powerful foes, but his knowledge of ancient spells could help. Elara, warming to Lena's pragmatism, suggested fortifying their defenses with layered enchantments. Nexus 9 projected a grand map of Zorath, highlighting potential ambush points. As they plotted, a shadowy tendril lashed out from a nearby shelf, a magical trap, swift and silent. Lena reacted instantly, her USB glowing faintly as she redirected the spell's energy, dispersing it into harmless sparks. "Nice try," she muttered, her sarcasm masking a surge of adrenaline. Corin's quick thinking shielded them with a makeshift ward, his hands steadier now. Ilara's eyes glowed with approval, her sigh less condescending. Nexus 9, predictably, declared the moment a triumph over the abyss. The alliance solidified, bound by necessity and Lena's relentless drive. She glanced at her companions, Ilara's sharp intellect, Corin's quiet potential, Nexus 9's flamboyant loyalty, and felt a flicker of hope. The crystal city loomed around them, its twin suns casting long shadows that hinted at battles to come. Lena's fingers tapped faster, her mind already racing toward the next challenge, the weight of Zorath's mysteries pressing ever closer. The crystal city sprawled before Lena Voss like a dream coated in light, its twin magical suns hovering 1,000 feet above, each a radiant orb casting prismatic beams across spires that soared half a mile into the violet sky. Their glow bathed the streets in a surreal warmth, illuminating the intricate lattice of glowing stone paths where Zorathians moved with purpose, their robes flickering with embedded spells. Lena adjusted her shimmering crystalline cloak, its weight a constant reminder of her unwanted title as the creator, while her sneakers scuffed the polished ground, grounding her in a reality that felt increasingly alien. Her blue-dyed hair caught the light as she squinted, her sharp eyes tracing the city's architecture, a blend of organic curves and geometric precision, like a program rendered in 3 dimensions. "This place is like a graphics engine on steroids," she said, her dry voice cutting through the hum of ambient magic. "2 suns? Really? Someone's showing off." Kuram. The city, sprawling 10 miles across Zorath's heart, was the planet's capital, a hub of magical governance where spells powered everything from floating markets to towering archives, all sustained by the core enchantment Lena had unwittingly triggered. Her fingers tapped rhythmically on her thigh, the USB drive at her neck a familiar anchor as she led Ilara, Corin, and Nexus 9 toward a gleaming tower at the city's edge. The structure, 100 feet tall and encrusted with pulsating crystals, loomed like a server rack from a sci-fi fever dream. Its surface flickered with erratic runes, a magical glitch that distorted the air like heat waves. Lena's coder instincts kicked in. This was a bug in the system, a flaw in Zorath's magical framework. "All right, let's patch this thing," she said, approaching the tower's base. She traced the runes, her mind translating their patterns into familiar code structures, loops, conditionals, and variables. With precise movements, she rearranged a sequence of glowing symbols, stabilizing the flicker. The tower hummed, its light steadying, and a soft cheer rose from nearby Zorathians watching from a safe distance of 50 feet. Ilara, her silver hair shimmering under the dual suns, tilted her head. "You manipulate magic as if it were a mere tool," she said, her voice a blend of awe and skepticism. "What is reality to you, Lena Voss?" The question hit like a Stack Overflow error. Lena paused, her fingers stilling as memories of Seattle's gray skies and endless deadlines surfaced. Nights spent coding to escape a past she rarely acknowledged, one marked by loss and failure she'd buried under logic and sarcasm. "Reality is just what I can control," she replied, her tone clipped but betraying a flicker of vulnerability. "Back home it was bugs and deadlines. Here it's this, whatever this is." Ilara's glowing eyes softened slightly, her usual haughty sigh replaced by a thoughtful hum, as if Lena's words had sparked a new philosophical thread. Corin, hovering nervously nearby, clutched a crumpled scroll, his pale green fingers smudged with ink. He sketched a series of magical sigils, his hands steadier than before, arranging them in a grid pattern to reinforce Lena's patch. Sorry, but this might help," he said, his voice warm but hesitant. "If we align the runes like a lattice, it could stabilize the curse's residue." His suggestion, born from his disgraced clan's knowledge of war spells, worked seamlessly, the tower's light pulsing in harmony. Lena grinned, clapping his shoulder. Nice one, Corin. You're not just a nervous wreck. His eyes widened, a shy smile breaking through as he gained a sliver of confidence, his dream of a quiet shop momentarily forgotten. Nexus 9, the floating crystal orb, whirred dramatically, projecting a cascade of sparkling runes that formed a glowing tableau of Lena's triumph. Behold, it boomed, its single eye gleaming. The Creator weaves destiny's thread, banishing chaos with her sacred touch. Lena rolled her eyes. Ease up, Nexus. I'm just fixing a glitch, not saving the galaxy. The orb pulsed, undeterred, its theatrical narration drawing curious Zorathians closer, their murmurs of awe echoing through the crowded street. The moment of victory was cut short by a chilling whisper in the air, a ripple of dark energy that slithered from an alley 50 feet away. Lena's instinct screamed. Another assassination attempt, the second in as many hours. A shadowy tendril lashed out, aiming for her chest. She dove, her coder's reflexes sharp, and redirected the spell's energy with a flick of her fingers, using her USB as a focus to rewrite its intent. The tendril dissolved into harmless sparks, but the air grew heavier, and the crowd scattered in panic. Okay, who's trying to kill me now? Lena snapped, her sarcasm masking a spike of fear. She turned to her allies. Ilara, spill it! Who's this Vexer guy everyone's whispering about? Ilara's form shimmered, her voice low and urgent. Vexer is a sorcerer of ancient lineage, a prodigy turned tyrant who seeks to shatter the core enchantment and rule Zorath. His ambition blinds him to the planet's balance. Lena's jaw tightened. A rogue admin with admin access was bad news in any system. Corin, clutching his scroll, added, He, hates anyone tied to the core, like you. Sorry. His apology was reflexive, but his eyes burned with resolve. Lena's fingers tapped faster, her mind racing. So, he's the big bad. Great. We need to lock this place down. Corin, emboldened, suggested a grid-based ward, sketching sigils with newfound precision. If we layer these, it might block his next move, he said, his voice steadier. Ilara nodded, her usual arrogance softening. Your logic, Lena, bends magic in ways I hadn't considered. It's effective. The admission was grudging but genuine, marking a shift in her guarded demeanor. As the group fortified their position, the twin suns cast long shadows, the city's glow dimming slightly as if sensing the growing threat. Lena's mind churned, piecing together a plan, more patches, more allies, more answers. We're not done yet, she said, her voice firm despite the weight of an unknown enemy. Let's keep moving before Vexer's next bug hits. The air vibrated with tension, the city's hum now a warning, urging them toward the next trial in a world that refused to let them rest. The Crystal City's twin suns cast a fractured glow over the magical arena, a colossal structure carved from the heart of Zorath, its massive crystal pillars rising 200 feet into the violet sky, each etched with runes that pulsed like the heartbeat of a slumbering giant. The arena, a circular expanse half a mile wide, was a relic of ancient trials where mages once proved their worth. Its tiered stands now packed with thousands of Zorathians, their robes shimmering under the dual sun's light. The air crackled with anticipation, a low hum of chants weaving through the crowd, amplifying the magical currents that sustained the planet. Lena Voss, her blue-dyed hair tucked beneath her crystalline cloak, felt the weight of their stares, her sneakers scuffing the glowing stone floor as she led her unlikely crew, Ilara, Corin, and Nexus 9 into the arena's center. Her sharp eyes scanned the towering pillars, each 50 feet thick and vibrating with raw power, like server cores running an overclocked system. This place screams final boss fight, she muttered, her dry humor masking the tension, knotting her stomach. If this is a test, I didn't sign up for the beta. A ripple of darkness sliced through the crowd's murmurs, and Vexer emerged atop a central pillar, his presence chilling the air. Tall and gaunt, his jet-black skin gleamed like polished obsidian, his red eyes blazing beneath curved horns, and his black armor, edged with crimson runes, seemed to drink in the light. A long cloak billowed behind him, its symbols smoldering like embers. and he gripped a staff radiating red smoke, its tip glowing with malevolent intent. A sorcerer of ancient warrior lineage, Vexor's ambition to rule Zorath burned as fiercely as his gaze, his prodigious talent twisted into tyranny. He raised his staff, his voice cold and commanding. You, the so-called creator, are but a glitch in my design. The core enchantment will shatter, and Zorath will kneel to me. The crowd gasped, the pillars trembling as his words echoed, a promise of chaos that could unravel the planet's 500-year cycle of renewal. Lena's fingers tapped her thigh, her USB drive warm against her chest as she whispered to Alara, "This guy's got a god complex. What's his weakness?" Ilara's silver hair shimmered as she glided closer, her glowing eyes narrowing. Vexor's strength is his mastery of destructive spells, but his arrogance blinds him. He underestimates those he deems inferior. Like you. Lena smirked, her mind already spinning a plan. Exploit his overconfidence, turn his magic against him. Good, let's keep him cocky, then hit him where it hurts. Before they could strategize further, a wave of dark energy surged from the arena's edge, a second assassination attempt cloaked in shadow, its tendrils snaking toward Lena with lethal precision. She dove, her coder's reflexes sharp, but Corrin acted first, his pale green hands sketching a rapid sigil grid in the air. Sorry, let me try this, he stammered, his voice warm but urgent. The grid flared, weaving a shimmering veil that deflected the tendrils into harmless sparks, concealing the group in a haze of light. Corrin's creativity, born from his disgraced clan's ingenuity, saved them, his anxious eyes brightening with a spark of pride. Lena clapped his shoulder. Corrin, you're a genius. Keep that up. Nexus 9, hovering nearby, pulsed with violet light, its single eye projecting a dramatic tableau of the skirmish. Lo, the Creator and her guardians defy the shadow of adversity. It boomed, its voice echoing across the arena, amplifying Lena's defiance to mythic proportions. The crowd roared, their faith in the Creator swelling, though Lena muttered, "Tone it down, Nexus. We're not in a blockbuster yet." Seizing the moment, Lena spotted a flickering wisp near the pillar, a spectral entity, like a rogue process in Zorath's magical network. She gripped her USB, its familiar weight grounding her, and focused, rewriting the wisp's structure as if debugging a script. The entity stabilized, its form shifting to a translucent scout that darted into the shadows, programmed to spy on Vexor's plans. It returned moments later, projecting fragmented images of Vexor's lair, a dark tower 10 miles north, where he prepared a spell to shatter the core enchantment. Lena's jaw tightened. This wasn't just a power grab, it was a system wipe. Alara's voice cut through her thoughts, soft but piercing. Magic is the universe's will, Lena, yet you bend it with ease. What are you, truly, to wield such power? Her philosophical tone carried a weight that made Lena pause, her mind drifting to her past, a life of coding to escape pain, of building digital worlds to avoid her own. I'm just me, she said, her voice quieter, trying to fix what's broken. The admission felt raw, a crack in her sarcastic armor, and Alara's sigh held a trace of empathy, her haughty demeanor softening. Corrin, clutching his scroll, blushed as he spoke. Sorry, but after this, maybe we could open a shop. Just a thought. His dream of a peaceful life surfaced, a flicker of hope amid the chaos, though he quickly apologized, his hands fidgeting. Lena chuckled. Focus, Corrin. First we survive. Then we talk bakeries. But his words lingered, a reminder of stakes beyond her escape. Her fingers tapped faster, doubt creeping in. Ilara, be straight. Can my skills take down Vexor? He's not some buggy subroutine. Ilara's eyes glowed, her voice firm. Your logic reshapes our reality. It's unorthodox, but it may suffice. The vote of confidence, grudging but genuine, steadied Lena's resolve. The group huddled in the arena's shadow, the pillar's hum growing ominous as Vexor's presence lingered in the air, his laughter echoing from the pillar above. You cannot outrun fate, Creator, he sneered, vanishing in a swirl of red smoke. The crowd's cheers turned to murmurs of fear. the twin suns dimming slightly as if sensing the escalating threat. Lena's mind raced, piecing together their next move. Fortify, spy, strike. Corrin sketched new sigils, his confidence growing. Ilara's form shimmered with purpose, and Nexus 9's glow pulsed with anticipation. The arena vibrated with tension, a battlefield poised for a greater conflict, and Lena felt the weight of Zorath's fate pressing down, her role as the creator no longer just a title, but a call to action she couldn't ignore. The outer fringes of the Crystal City gave way to a desolate expanse, where jagged stones glowed faintly under the twin suns' fading light, their radiance dimmed to a somber violet, as if mourning the scars of ancient wars. The outskirts, a sprawling field 3 miles wide, were littered with remnants of battles fought centuries ago, cracked crystal obelisks, 50 feet tall, etched with fading runes that whispered of forgotten conflicts. Lena Voss trudged forward, her crystalline cloak catching the eerie glow, her sneakers crunching on the luminous gravel. Her blue-dyed hair stuck to her forehead, sweat beading despite the cool air, and her sharp eyes scanned the horizon for threats. The air thrummed with a discordant hum, a massive war curse embedded in the ground, its dark energy pulsing like corrupted code, threatening to destabilize Zorath's magical core. "This feels like a system crash waiting to happen," Lena muttered, her dry sarcasm a shield against the oppressive atmosphere. Her fingers tapped her thigh, the USB drive at her neck warm as she faced the curse's epicenter, a pulsating vortex of shadow, 20 feet wide, radiating malice. Lena knelt beside the vortex, its energy crackling like static, and visualized it as a tangled mess of code. Drawing on her programming instincts, she traced the runes embedded in the glowing stones, her mind mapping their chaotic loops into structured logic. With precise gestures, she restructured the curse's framework, redirecting its energy into a stable pattern. The ground shuddered, stones flaring with a brilliant sapphire light before settling into a steady pulse. The curse neutralized. The tremor rippled outward, shaking the field for 100 yards, and Corrin, standing nearby, clutched his scroll tightly, his pale green face alight with awe. You rewrote it," he stammered, his voice warm but trembling. "Sorry, that was incredible." Before Lena could respond, a swarm of shadowy figures materialized, Vexor's magical assassins, their forms flickering like glitched avatars, each 10 feet tall and wielding blades of dark energy. The group had no time to rest. The attack came swiftly and relentlessly, forcing them into a defensive circle. Lena dodged a slashing tendril, her reflexes honed from hours of coding under pressure, while Ilara wove a shimmering barrier, her silver hair glowing as she chanted. Corrin sketched a rapid sigil grid, his hands steady despite his nervous apologies, creating a lattice of light that deflected a second wave. "Keep it tight," Lena shouted, her voice sharp as she redirected a rogue spell with her USB, its faint glow syncing with the field's runes. The assassins pressed harder, their numbers swelling to a dozen, but the group's synergy held, each move a desperate bid for survival. Ilara glided closer, her glowing eyes piercing Lena's. "Magic is the universe's will, Lena, not mere code, yet you wield it as if born to it. Have you ever considered a life before this one?" Her philosophical tone cut through the chaos, forcing Lena to confront the unease stirring within her. A nagging sense that Zorath's magic felt too familiar, like a program she'd written and forgotten. "I'm just trying to stay alive," Lena snapped, her sarcasm masking the doubt Ilara's words sparked. "Let's not get existential mid-fight." Corrin, emboldened, drew a complex grid on his scroll, its lines glowing as he aligned them with the field's runes. Sorry, but this might help patch the next layer," he said, his voice steadier as he aided Lena in sealing a secondary glitch in the curse's structure. The vortex shrank, its energy dissipating, and the assassins faltered, their forms flickering out. Nexus 9, hovering above, projected a dazzling display of runes, casting the battle as an epic saga. "Behold! The creator and her champions vanquish the tides of ruin," it boomed, its violet light illuminating the field, boosting the group's morale. Lena rolled her eyes. Nexus, less drama, more focus. The victory was fleeting, but it revealed a truth that hit Lena like a runtime error. Her programming skills meshed with Zorath's magic in ways that defied coincidence. Each patch she applied felt instinctive, as if the planet's magical system was an extension of her mind, its runes echoing code she'd somehow always known. "This isn't just compatible," she whispered, her fingers pausing mid-tap. "It's like I built this." The realization sent a chill down her spine, her past in Seattle, a blur of code and isolation, feeling like a shadow of something deeper. The group pressed on, driven by necessity, toward the ancient crystal labyrinth, a mile north through glowing trails. The labyrinth's entrance loomed, its crystalline arches pulsing with the same runes Lena had first encountered, a reminder of the core enchantment's power. As they approached, a mocking laugh echoed from the distance. Vexer, his voice carried by magic across the miles. "You're a flaw in the system, creator," he sneered, his words dripping with contempt. "Zorath will be mine when your fragile code breaks." The threat hung in the air, the twin suns dimming as if in fear, casting long shadows over the group. Lena's fingers tapped faster, her mind racing. "He's baiting us," she said, her voice firm despite the knot in her chest. "We hit him head on. No more running." It was a reckless decision, born of necessity, as Vexer's assassins proved he could strike anywhere. Ilara's form shimmered, her usual sigh replaced by a nod. "You may indeed reshape reality itself," she said, her tone softer, almost reverent. "Your logic is unprecedented." The admission marked a shift, her skepticism giving way to trust in Lena's unorthodox power. Corin, clutching his scroll, murmured, "Sorry, but maybe after this, we could make something better?" His dream of a peaceful shop surfaced again, a quiet hope amid the storm. Lena gave him a half-smile. "One step at a time, Corin. Let's debug this first." Nexus 9 pulsed, projecting a map of the labyrinth's twisting paths, its voice solemn. "The Creator's resolve lights the way through darkness." The labyrinth's hum grew louder, its runes flickering as if sensing the coming storm. The group stood at its threshold, the air thick with tension, each member bound by a shared purpose. The crystal labyrinth's glow faded as Lena Voss and her companions slipped into the shadowed outskirts of Vexer's territory, a desolate plain 10 miles north of the Crystal City, where the air hung heavy with the stench of scorched magic. At its heart loomed Vexer's tower, a jagged spire of blackened crystal rising 300 feet, its surface pitted with glowing red runes that pulsed like open wounds. The structure seemed to devour light, its base shrouded in a haze of crimson smoke that coiled like a living thing, a fortress built to intimidate and isolate, accessible only by navigating a treacherous maze of enchanted traps. Lena's crystalline cloak flickered faintly under the twin suns' dim light, her blue-dyed hair damp with sweat, her sharp eyes scanning the tower's ominous silhouette. Her sneakers sank into the ashen ground, and she clutched her USB drive, its familiar way to lifeline in this alien world. "This place looks like a hacker's nightmare," she muttered, her dry sarcasm barely masking the tension knotting her chest. Goth aesthetic, maxed out. The group moved stealthily, Ilara gliding silently, her silver hair a faint beacon in the gloom, while Corin clutched his scroll, his pale green face taut with anxiety. Nexus 9 hovered low, its violet glow dimmed to avoid detection. They reached the tower's base, its entrance a gaping maw framed by jagged crystals, when a bone-chilling laugh echoed from above. Vexer stood atop a balcony, his jet-black skin gleaming, red eyes blazing like twin embers, his horned silhouette framed against the violet sky. His black armor, edged with smoldering runes, radiated menace, and his staff pulsed with red smoke, its power threatening to unravel Zorath's core enchantment. "You dare invade my sanctum, creator?" he sneered, his voice dripping with contempt. "A human speck, unworthy of the power you wield. My curse will erase you and this world's frail heart." With a flourish, he unleashed a wave of dark energy, a destruction curse that rippled outward, warping the air like a corrupted render. Lena's fingers tapped her thigh, her mind racing like a debugger parsing errors. She spotted a spectral wisp circling the tower's base, a magical construct pulsing with Vexor's defenses. Gripping her USB, she visualized its structure as a firewall subroutine and rewrote its code, her fingers tracing runes in the air. The wisp shuddered, its red glow shifting to blue as it turned against Vexor's barriers, dismantling a layer of protective spells with a crackle of light. "Gotcha," Lena said, her voice sharp with defiance. "Your system's got more holes than a bad beta." Corrin, emboldened, sketched a grid of sigils on his scroll, his hand steady despite a murmured, "Sorry, this might not work." The grid flared, aligning with Lena's patch to reinforce the breach, weakening the tower's defenses further. His eyes lit up, a spark of hope breaking through his usual doubt. "After this, maybe we could build something peaceful?" he ventured, his dream of a quiet shop surfacing amid the chaos. Lena nodded, her half-smile encouraging. "Keep dreaming, Karn. But first, let's not die." Nexus 9 pulsed brightly, projecting a dazzling array of runes that cast the skirmish as an epic saga. "Hark! The Creator storms the Citadel of Doom, her will a beacon against the abyss!" It boomed, its theatrical voice rallying the group's spirits. Lena rolled her eyes. "Nexus, you're killing the vibe. Focus." But the orb's dramatics bolstered their resolve, the glowing images drawing a faint cheer from the distant crowd, watching via magical projections. Ilara's glowing eyes fixed on Lena, her voice soft but piercing. "This world feels like a dream you crafted, Lena. What pain drove you to such creation?" The question struck deep, pulling memories of Seattle, nights spent coding to escape a fractured past, losses she'd buried under logic and sarcasm. "I don't know," Lena admitted, her voice quieter, raw. "Maybe I was running from something. Doesn't matter now." Ilara's form shimmered, her usual haughty sigh replaced by a nod of understanding, her skepticism giving way to empathy. The tower trembled as Vexor's curse intensified, sending a swarm of shadowy assassins, each 15 feet tall, their forms flickering like glitched sprites, surging toward the group. Lena reacted instantly, her USB glowing as she debugged another wisp, redirecting its energy to shield them. The group barely escaped, dodging a barrage of dark tendrils that grazed Corrin's robe, singeing it. Lena's heart pounded. They were cornered, the tower's traps tightening like a noose. In a split-second decision, she crafted a decoy, a spectral construct mimicking Ilara's form, and sent it into the fray, drawing the assassin's fire. The decoy shattered, buying them seconds to retreat, but the sacrifice weighed on Lena. "Sorry," she whispered, her voice tight, hating the necessity of the choice. Vexor's laughter echoed again, colder now. "Flee all you like, Creator. My next strike will end you." His voice carried across the plain, and the air grew heavier, a new wave of assassins materializing, their numbers doubling to 20, their blades sharper, faster. The situation was spiraling, each moment more perilous than the last, the tower's crimson glow intensifying like a warning light. Ilara glided closer, her eyes blazing with conviction. "You are the key, Lena, to mending what was broken. Your power reshapes reality itself." Her words, free of arrogance, marked a turning point, full trust in Lena's unorthodox abilities. Lena's fingers tapped faster, her resolve hardening. "Then let's rewrite this guy's ending," she said, her sarcasm laced with determination. The group regrouped in the tower's shadow, the plains stretching endlessly around them, the twin suns barely visible through the haze of Vexor's magic. Corrin's sigils glowed faintly, his confidence growing with each contribution. Nexus 9's projections flickered, urging them forward. Ilara's form radiated purpose, and Lena felt the weight of their trust, her connection to Zorath deepening with every rune she touched. The tower loomed, its hum a challenge, daring them to press on into a storm of magic and malice, where Vexor's next move waited to test the limits of Lena's power. The magical arena pulsed with raw energy, its vast circular expanse half a mile wide, trembling under the weight of 10,000 Zorathians packed into tiered stands that rose 200 feet high. Massive crystal pillars, each 50 feet thick and glowing with ancient runes, framed the battlefield, their light flickering as the twin suns above dimmed to a blood-red hue, casting an ominous glow over the crystal city's heart. Lena Voss stood at the arena's center, her crystalline cloak shimmering faintly, her blue-dyed hair plastered to her sweat-soaked forehead, her sneakers scuffing the glowing stone floor. Her sharp eyes darted across the crowd, their chants a deafening roar, amplifying the magical currents that bound Zorath's fate. The air crackled with tension, thick with the scent of ozone and anticipation, as if the planet itself held its breath. "This is it," Lena muttered, her dry sarcasm barely audible over the din. No pressure, just the whole world watching. Her fingers tapped her thigh, the USB drive at her neck pulsing warmly, a talisman anchoring her to a reality she was beginning to question. Vexor descended from the sky, his jet-black form a stark silhouette against the crimson suns, his red eyes blazing like twin infernos. His armor, edged with smoldering runes, radiated raw power, and his staff, wreathed in red smoke, crackled with the force of a final destruction curse, a spell designed to shatter Zorath's core enchantment and bend the planet to his will. "Bow, Creator!" he roared, his voice shaking the pillars. "Your frail human code cannot withstand my dominion." The crowd gasped as the curse unfurled, a vortex of dark energy 30 feet wide, its tendrils lashing out like a storm of corrupted data, threatening to unravel the planet's 500-year cycle of renewal. Lena's mind raced, her coder's instincts kicking into overdrive. She gripped her USB, its glow syncing with the arena's runes, and began rewriting the curse's structure, her fingers tracing patterns in the air as if debugging a crashing system. "This is just a bad script," she said, her voice sharp with defiance. "Let's patch it." Line by line, she unraveled the curse's core, redirecting its energy into harmless light. The vortex shrank, the pillars stabilizing, but Vexor's laughter grew colder. She turned to Alara, her silver hair glowing faintly in the chaos. "He keeps calling me Creator. Is there something you're not telling me about? Me?" Ilara's eyes flickered, her voice soft but urgent. "What if you wove this world, Lena, in a life forgotten? What if Zorath is your echo?" The question hit like a system failure, but Corrin's voice broke through. Sorry, but try this." He sketched a massive sigil grid on the ground, his pale green hands steady, his anxious apologies gone. The grid, spanning 20 feet, pulsed with sapphire light, amplifying Lena's efforts to neutralize the curse. His confidence, forged through trials, shone brightly, his disgraced clan's legacy redeemed in the act. "Nice, Corrin," or Lena shouted, her grin fierce. "You're officially not a wreck anymore." Nexus 9 hovered above, its violet glow blazing as it projected a dazzling epic of their stand. "Behold, the great Creator defies the shadow of oblivion." It boomed, its single eye casting runes that lit the arena like a starfield, turning Lena's fight into legend. The crowd roared, their faith in her swelling, though Lena muttered, "Nexus, you're overdoing it. Again." As the curse weakened, a vision flashed in Lena's mind. A life before Seattle, coding a world to escape a grief she couldn't name, a world called Zorath. Her breath caught, the truth crashing through her like a breaking firewall. "I made this place," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I built Zorath to hide from everything." The revelation stunned her allies. Ilara's form flickered, Corrin's eyes widened. Nexus 9 paused its narration. The planet, she realized, was rebooting itself through her, using her skills to fix a self-destruct sequence she'd unknowingly embedded long ago. The twist was a shockwave, reshaping her understanding of her role. Vexor's forces pressed harder, a relentless swarm of shadowy assassins, 20 strong, their blades slicing through the air. The group fought without pause, Lena redirecting spells, Corrin weaving wards, Ilara chanting barriers, and Nexus 9's projections rallying their spirits. The tension peaked, each moment a desperate struggle, the arena's pillars trembling as if Zorath itself teetered on collapse. Lena's heart pounded, her past pain, loss, failure, and isolation surged forward. "I'm not running anymore," she declared, her voice raw but resolute. "I won't rule this place, Vexer. It's not mine to control." Ilara glided closer, her philosophical tone warm. "You craft freedom, not chains, Lena. That is your truth." Corin, his confidence now unshakable, added, "After this, maybe a bakery? No curses, just cakes." His dream, once a shy whisper, now held firm, a beacon of hope. Lena's half-smile returned, steadying her. The final twist ignited as Lena fully dismantled Vexer's curse, the arena erupting in light as the core enchantment stabilized. Zorath was healing itself through her coding not just a skill, but a key to its survival, a revelation that left the crowd breathless and Vexer reeling. "Impossible!" he snarled, his staff faltering. Lena faced him, her eyes blazing, no longer the weary coder, but a force rewriting reality. The arena's hum softened, the suns brightening as if acknowledging her victory. The group stood united, their bond forged in fire, ready for the final steps to reshape Zorath's future, with Lena at its heart, not as ruler, but as its reluctant savior. The magical arena lay quiet, its crystal pillars glowing softly under the restored brilliance of Zorath's twin suns, their light washing the half-mile expanse in hues of gold and violet. The air, once thick with the chaos of Vexer's destruction curse, now hummed with a gentle resonance, as if the planet itself exhaled in relief. Lena Voss stood at the arena's center, her crystalline cloak tattered but gleaming, her blue-dyed hair catching the sun's rays, her sharp eyes softened by exhaustion and resolve. Her sneakers, scuffed and worn, grounded her on the glowing stone floor, where the echoes of 10,000 Zorathians' cheers lingered, their faith in the Creator unshaken. Her fingers, no longer tapping frantically, rested on the USB drive at her neck, its warmth a quiet reminder of her journey from a weary Seattle coder to something more. Vexer's defeat had been swift but brutal. His final curse, a swirling vortex of shadow 30 feet wide, was dismantled by Lena's relentless coding, her hands weaving runes like lines of code to rewrite the planet's magical core. The crowd watched in awe as she reshaped Zorath's enchantment system, not to dominate, but to empower, threading democratic principles into its framework, allowing every citizen to wield magic freely. "No kings, no tyrants," she said, her voice steady despite the weight of her choice. "You run this show now." The Zorathians, their robes shimmering in the stands, murmured in wonder. Their society, long bound by rigid hierarchies, now faced a new dawn. Lena stepped back, her refusal to rule absolute, her sarcasm softened by a newfound clarity. "I'm not your boss," she told the crowd, her tone dry but earnest. "Figure it out yourselves. I'm just here for the bug fixes." The pillars pulsed, as if affirming her act, their runes aligning into patterns of shared power, a system spanning the 10-mile-wide Crystal City and beyond, designed to endure another 500 years. She turned to Corin, his pale green face alight with a quiet joy, his tattered robe patched with pride. "So about that bakery," she said, a half-smile tugging at her lips. "You're on, but I'm not kneading dough." Corin blushed, his once anxious eyes bright with purpose. Thank you," he stammered, his dream of a magical bakery, a small shop selling enchanted pastries, now within reach. They agreed to set up in the city's heart, a modest stall amidst the glowing streets, a symbol of peace born from chaos. Lena's choice to stay, to help him build something simple, felt like a rebellion against her old life of isolation and deadlines. Ilara glided forward, her silver hair cascading like moonlight, her glowing eyes free of their usual skepticism. "You've given us freedom, Lena, but what of your own?" she asked, her voice a soft melody of philosophy. "What does it mean to live, knowing you crafted this world to flee another?" Lena's breath caught, the twist of her past life as Zorath's creator, a truth revealed in the arena's chaos, settling heavily. She'd built this planet, a virtual escape from a Seattle life scarred by loss, a world coded to bury her grief. "It means I stopped running," she said quietly, her sarcasm gone. "I made this place to hide, but now I'm here to live." Ilara's form shimmered, her nod warm with understanding, her haughty demeanor replaced by a bond forged through shared trials. Nexus 9 hovered nearby, its violet glow pulsing gently, its single eye projecting a final tableau of runes that cast Lena's journey as an epic of healing. "Thus ends the saga of the great creator," it declared, its voice softer, reverent. "Through her, Zorath mends its soul, a testament to redemption." Lena chuckled, shaking her head. "Nexus, you make me sound like a myth. I'm just a coder who got lucky." But the orb's words lingered, a reminder that her actions had woven her into Zorath's legend, a story of creation and renewal. The group gathered in the arena's shadow, sharing a rare moment of peace. The twin suns bathed the city in warmth, its spires glinting a mile high, the streets alive with Zorathians testing their new magical freedoms. Lena looked to Alara. "What's next for this place? Will your democracy hold?" Alara's eyes glowed, her voice certain. "It will endure, for you've taught us to shape our own will. Zorath is no longer a dream, but a home." The answer steadied Lena, the planet's mysteries still vast but no longer daunting. The twist of her role as Zorath's creator underscored a deeper truth. Her escape into this world had been a flight from pain, but her fight to save it had healed her. She'd coded Zorath to hide, yet it had rebuilt her, forcing her to face her past and embrace her present. The realization was a quiet victory, more profound than Vexor's defeat, a lesson in crafting meaning from illusion. Lena gazed at the crystalline sky, its violet depths flecked with stars, the twin suns casting a gentle glow over the city's spires. Corin sketched sigils for his bakery, his hands steady with hope. Alara stood beside her, a silent ally in a world still brimming with secrets. Nexus 9 hummed softly, its work complete, but its curiosity alive. Lena's heart, once heavy with buried grief, felt lighter, as if Zorath's magic had rewritten her code. She didn't need to rule or run, just live, here, now, in a world she'd made and mended. Lena Voss stood beneath Zorath's twin suns, their golden light bathing the crystal city in a warm, prismatic glow. Her fingers, once restless, rested still. Her USB drive a quiet relic of a past she'd faced. Corin sketched bakery plans, his hope a beacon. Alara's eyes glowed with shared purpose, her philosophy softened by trust. Nexus 9's final runes faded, its saga complete. Lena gazed at the crystalline sky, its depths whispering of new beginnings. She'd built Zorath to escape, but in saving it, she'd found herself. Freedom, not control, was her legacy, a truth etched in starlight, enduring beyond code.